Welcome to the next installment of a Profi photo video. Here I'm showing you the finished photo after applying a new preset called Dramatic Sky. And in this preset you can effectively create a two-toned effect in the sky portion of your photographs. Well, enough said about that. We're going to get right into showing you how the preset works and the kind of fun you can have with it. Here you can see I've taken a photograph that is basically as it came out of the camera, imported into Lightroom, of course. The first thing I'd like to do with this photo is to apply a preset that I've previously released called Snowscape Snap. And all it does is bring out a little bit more detail in the snow and in the sky. And as I'm a firm believer that presets should be made so that they can be layered on top of one another, my next preset, the focus of this video, is Dramatic Sky, and you can see that it basically will sit on top of the previous preset. Now, you might say that's not bad, but the preset is pretty much designed so that you need to fine-tune it to match your photograph. And to do that, I'm going to go into our graduated filter tool. And you'll see there's a number of filters associated with this preset. The first thing I'm going to do is click on one of them, move it out, and then orient it a little bit so that it matches more of a natural line within the photograph, which you might see here. I'm just going to turn it a little bit, rotate it on its axis, and then we'll leave that there. The next preset, or the next filter, I'm going to bring down a bit. Basically lightening up the center portion of the photograph, and by the very nature that you've got a number of filters on the edge of the photograph, you can create your own custom vignetting effect. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's say that in this segment of the photograph here you'd like to have it a little bit darker to more closely match this one. Well, you just go over to your exposure and drop down the exposure a bit. Now we've gotten a little too far. We can just bring that up again a little bit, and then you can basically fine-tune each section of your photograph to suit your personal liking. Now the next filter I'm going to use is this one here. I'm going to move it a little bit more to the edge. That looks not too bad. This one here, I'm going to select, move it also to the edge. And this one I'm going to rotate because I'd like it to basically darken up or darken the sky a little bit. So I'm going to rotate that one a little too far. Basically take it on an angle here and then move it up. So that the effect begins roughly where the bottom portion of the sky, of the sun, is to be seen in our photograph. Now this one here, I'm also going to move up out of the way a bit. We can always fine-tune it later, and that's the beauty of it. You can really customize the photo to match your personal preference. Now we're left with the two main filters in the middle. This one here, you can see, has a somewhat of an orange yellowish cast to it, and it runs from here until the next one. The next filter has a blue cast to it, and again, as I did with the other ones, I'm going to adjust this one so it aligns itself a little bit more with the natural line in the photo here. I'm going to move it down a little bit. And you can see that the effect, it basically negates the effect of the filter below. This one here, I'm going to basically rotate a bit. Again, you'll see that the effect can be fine-tuned. Let's say you only want a small portion in the middle of the photo to be your first color. So you basically move this filter up. And now we're just focusing in on the fog that's here in the background. So we're creating a tiny slice in the photograph that's one color, and the sky filter, which we can also change. So that the effect is somewhat more localized. And then move it back into place. I'm just showing this rather quickly. You can obviously, as you're playing with it, you can adjust it to your liking. Now, the interesting part here is once we work with this filter, we can now go in and change the color associated with the middle. Let's say we wanted to have, well, okay, in the middle of the photograph, more of a blue color. Now you can see that it affects the portion from here to here, but it also affects the portion up here. So you can really get creative here and play with the filters to get the desired effect. Now we're going to leave this a little bit red at the moment, but now we can go back up here and change the color of this filter as well. So you want to have a really red sky. You can dramatically change the effect just by now playing. Once you've got your filters positioned, you can change the color and dramatically affect the look of the photograph. I'm going to leave it here with a bit of a bluer segment, but you can now see what you can accomplish once you've got the filters in place. You can really fine-tune it and get something rather dramatic out of it. Here I'm going to go back to a bit of a yellowish color. Seems to work better for this particular photo. And finally, we're just going to crop this down a little bit. Get rid of some of the obvious distractions in the photograph. Once you've got the photograph basically the way, you can still play with some other filters. Let's say you want a little bit more contrast. There's another preset I've created called Snow Detail, and it coexists with the dramatic sky, as I said in the beginning. So we can now click on Snow Detail, and you'll see it creates much more of a dramatic effect again, or even more pronounced. That's the point of having the presets. You can mix and match them to get the right type of atmosphere or the right kind of look that you're going for your photograph. Well, I hope you found this to be informative. Thanks for dropping by, and I look forward to seeing you again on the website.